Toni Kukoc, was asked about what it would be like if his former teammate Michael Jordan got to play with Shaql O'Neal. And he was pretty blunt in his response, quote, "Best lineup ever assembled." Kukoc continued to tell Bayless Sports, quote, "It wouldn't even matter who brings the ball up. There's so much firepower there that I don't think that there would be any team that would compete with them." Shannon, do you believe Shaq and MJ would be the most unbeatable duo ever?
I don't, and let me explain to you why, Skip. Because in that scenario, Shaq would have had to join Jordan's team. Jordan has never, ever had a player that can challenge him as far as greatness. Scottie Pippen was perfectly content playing Robin, being the second best player, and that's what he was. No one else ever came there. And we saw Shaq. Once Kobe started to challenge him for greatness on that team, we saw the friction that it created. So my question is, I believe in that scenario, Shaq would have had to been somewhere first and Jordan would have had to join him. Because Jordan, I just don't see how it worked. Now everybody's gonna say, well, Shaq says, this is what I should have done, made things better with Kobe, and we could have won maybe another 1 or 2 championships. But we're talking about, they're coming out, we're talking about the early 90s. I just don't see how it works. For me, give me LeBron and KD. Because both of those guys can play with anybody else, and it does not matter. It doesn't matter. I've seen KD play in 3 different systems with 3 different types of players, and it didn't matter. I've seen LeBron make it work with everybody that he's been around. They'll play off each other, and it really doesn't matter. I don't know if we've ever seen Mike play with someone as great as Shaql that's going to be challenging him for his greatness on his own team. I don't know how that would have worked because we saw when Phil first came in and we said, okay, Mike, we're going to need you to shoot a little less and get everybody some ball. He rebuffed that early on. And then once he saw that, you know what, the only way I'm going to be able to win a championship is doing it this way, we saw it work. But we saw before our very eyes what happened when Kobe started to climb that greatness ladder. Shaq was very reluctant to let him continue to climb and get to the top. And ultimately, they broke away. So, Skip, I don't really know how this would work. Now, everybody's going to say all the right thing. Oh, yeah, we'd have made it work. No. Because if that was the case, you could have made it work before, and you didn't.
By the way, so you're combining LeBron with KD, so if you can't beat him, join him. Right? Now you're acknowledging the greatness of Kevin Durant. Thank you. Skip. You finally saw the light. Because we know KD's a little better than LeBron, and you would need KD to even begin to challenge Jordan and Shaq.
Skip, they said, put 2 guys together. Skip, that's it.
All right. First of all, we're talking sort of hypothetically.
Yeah, very hypothetical.
Okay. And the rest of the lineup doesn't really matter because Kukoc is saying it would be the best lineup, but he's dismissing. It doesn't even matter who brings the ball up. So to me, it could be you, me, and Jenny. Could be the other 3, right? We'd be just fine because they don't need anybody.
Right.
We just get in the way. We could just sort of stand around, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is just me. When I rank my all-time list of greatest players, you know who I put at the top?
Yep.
Jordan. I've got Magic second, but I got Shaq third on my list. So if I'm going to combine, hypothetically, 1 and 3, and they do fit together better to me than MJ and Magic.
Okay.
They just don't fit to me the way.
What about Magic and Shaq?
Well, that would work. Because it almost worked. It just barely missed. But yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But here's the point about Michael and Shaq.
Right.
They are simply the 2 physically and mentally most dominant players I ever saw at their positions. Whatever you want to call Michael, 2 guard, I guess. He can play everything. Yeah. He can play small forward. He can play point guard. But those 2 are the 2 most ruthless, cold-blooded basketball killers I ever saw. Both of them. And again, could they fit? Well, if you could hypothetically make them teammates, they would love to play with each other because you do have a big man and a 2 guard.
Right.
And the point is, that Shaquille O'Neal, just for those 3 years, I can't do duration, I can't do longevity because there was no longevity. He did not keep himself in the greatest
But
shape.
Skip, he did for about a decade. You talk about Orlando, and then those 3 years you're talking about in L.A.?
Hey, especially the 3 years, but I'll give you Orlando too. But those 3 years, I've never seen anything like it. Not the prettiest thing to watch. It could be ugly basketball. It could be football basketball. But you want to talk about power and strength and psychologically the psychological willpower of Shaquille O'Neal with high skill attached to it. High skill, dancing bear skill. He had it all. He had all the little moves, the little hook shots, the touch, the feel. And he just terrorized my San Antonio Spurs featuring David Robinson and Tim Duncan. He tore those two apart. He ragdolled both of them. Well, if you put that guy with the coldest-blooded basketball killer ever in Michael, they would terrorize the league. They would terrorize the universe and the galaxy. It would be beyond comprehension. Once they got on a roll, they would destroy everybody in sight.
You know what I love about this? It would never happen because Michael Jordan is never going to sign off on it.
You know, they would have to get thrust into the same vortex.
Michael going to rebuff it. Michael don't want... Skip, you know how he is.
Yeah, but if you told him he could cakewalk to 10 straight championships, he would say, okay, I'll do that. Again, remember, he had little to no respect for Scottie Pippen. I don't care what anybody says, little to no respect.
Well, he's been on his top five, his team that, remember his team that he wanted to play with?
He's mellowed out a little bit. But while he was there, I was there covering the team, little to no respect. He was definitely robbing. At best, he was robbing. And in the end, if you actually somehow, hypothetically, threw him together with Shaquille O'Neal, you don't think he'd respect the big diesel? Yeah, he would.
Well, Skip, why would he want... He's like, I would have never... I think he said, like, he would never play with Larry. He never played... I wanted to beat those guys.
Okay, well, he didn't want to join them. We're just having to throw them together hypothetically.
Oh, yeah.
If they got thrown together in a bubble together, this is what you'd have.
Right.
If you could just... hypothetically, just pick the two you'd want together.
But do you believe, knowing what you know about each of them personalities and mindset, you believe they could have played together?
I do. I think they could figure it out because you got big and small effectively.
I'm not worried about that. Yeah. I'm just talking about them. I ain't talking about I'm a two guard and a center. I'm not talking about that aspect of it. I'm talking about the mindset. What Shaq thought what Shaq was, what Michael was, bringing those two forces together.
Don't underestimate Michael's passing ability because it was supreme. That 1 year he averaged, what was it, 8 assists?
Yes.
It was career high.
So 32, 8, and 8.
Okay, so he could get the ball to the big fella.
Yeah.
If that was going to win a lot of basketball games, that's how he would have done it. But he would have to have high regard for the big fella because, remember, he's playing with Bill Winnington and Luke Longley.
Right.
You know, come on.
But you think he could talk? You think he could talk to Shaq like he talked to those guys?
No, I do not.
No.
But I don't think he'd know he didn't need to talk to him that way.
That's what I'm saying.
He'd know they were partners in crime, right?
And that's the thing. You have to understand. You have to look at these guys' personalities. The way Shaq was talking to Kobe early on, I think he said, the report was that he said, Shaq was telling the story and about how he said something to Kobe, and Kobe said something back. He said, I can get you traded tomorrow. I mean, just the personalities.
He also knew he could just bust him up right there. If it came to that. Right, that's just...
But Skip, I give you... When I look at Shaq, and I remember Shaq when he got to Orlando, and I look at, say, for the first decade, if he could have stayed like that size, that athleticism, for another 3-4 years, Skip...
Game over. I agree.
People don't really... I can feel comfortable saying, Joel Embiid. But Joel Embiid can't move like Shaq. And Shaq
agree. Totally agree.
Man, Shaq was easy 330 and was nimble, was quick.
Nimble.
And with the thing that I loved about Shaq knew who he was and knew who he wasn't. Shaq said, I'm going to bust y'all butt down on this paint, give it to me down here. And I'm turning around, I'm drop stepping, and I'm dunking you and you and you in this basket.
As he says now, barbecue chicken. That's
He's like, I ain't trying to shoot no threes. I ain't trying to shoot no mid-range.
Nope. Got it.
Shaq, run to the block, give it to me.
Okay, and I'm going to remind you, in those 3 dominant championship back-to-back seasons for the Lakers, Kobe was 21, 22, and 23. So whether Kobe liked it or not, he was still the second fiddle through those years.
Right.
But after 3 championships, Kobe says, I've grown up now.
But you saw all of a sudden he started being first-team All-NBA, first-team All-NBA, and he wasn't content like, ain't no Batman Robin. It's Batman. Ain't no Batman Robin.
I got
it. It's Batman.
Okay? So back to your contention. If hypothetically we had a 7-game series featuring Shaq and Michael versus LeBron and KD, Shaq and Michael would destroy them.
No, no, Skip. The thing is, no, we gonna play 2-on-2. You can't dunk.
You can't dunk.
Nope.
Well, I think KD and LeBron can dunk.
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna shoot them 3. We're gonna shoot them out the gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we shoot them out the gym.
Well, KD might. I don't know about LeBron.
Oh, no, see, there you go. See,
well, seriously.
How you try? Hold up, they teammates. How you try to take a shot at the teammate?
Look, neither LeBron nor KD could stop Michael or Shaq. They just couldn't stop
nobody
them.
stopping Shaq.
Okay.
Man, you know how big Shaq's at with 330.
Yeah, well, maybe you need Wilt. If you have
Right.
Wilt on your team, maybe you got a chance.
Prime
to
Wilt, the Wilt in his 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Larry Bird said when Shaq was coming out of college, say Shaq might be the second best player in the NBA. He hadn't even set foot in the NBA. And he said he might be the second best player in the NBA, and he's not even in the NBA.
Okay.
So that's what Larry Bird, that's what the superstar thought of Shaql O'Neal just from watching him at LSU.
Okay.
You knew, Skip, if there's ever been a can't miss, you knew Shaql O'Neal was going to be can't miss. Because we had never, ever seen a guy that size move like that.
Yep.
Guys that size not supposed to move like that, Skip,
And
not
I
330.
saw the recent documentary about Shaq leaving Orlando, and he left them dumbfounded because they thought he was going to stay, and at the last second, he's